From all of the videos I see talking about the Mega Man series, and for this specific video talking about the classic series, I don't really see the rush adapters being talked about, and that's unfortunate because they're actually pretty cool. And the subject of today's video, let's get into them. The rush adapters were seen in playable in only Mega Man 6 and 7. They come in the forms of the Jet Adapter, Power Adapter, these two being in Mega Man 6, and the Super Adapter, this one appearing in Mega Man 7. They're transformations Mega Man can use to upgrade or just change your gameplay in general, but they all come with the cost of being unable to slide and use special weapons, on top of whatever else they may have. So game balance wise, the adapters have to be pretty solid to justify all of that. Speaking of them, let's start with the Jet Adapter. You get it after beating Plant Man, so it and the next adapter can be gotten almost immediately if you do go into respective stages. The Jet Adapter grants you a few seconds of flight if you hold down the jump button. The height won't bring you to the top of the screen, but it's close enough to latch onto normally inaccessible ladders, and it can be controlled by releasing and holding the jump button as much as you need it to be. The gauge for the flight refills quickly once you hit the ground, so you can get back to flying pretty quickly. However, you can't use special weapons, slide, or charge your buster, so you're stuck with the lemons. The flight of course is great for movement, but it's also useful for accessing new areas, mainly going through most of the optional boss doors for the beat plates, being the ones Tomahawk Man and Centaur Man stages. It's also good for saving yourself if an enemy hits you towards spikes or other instant kill hazards. However, your offense takes a great hit. While being stuck with lemons isn't the worst thing ever, you were doing that in the first free NES games, the slide is a lot less negotiable. Despite the flight allowing easier dodging against enemies and bosses for the most part, the slide itself is a great movement option and needed to go for narrow passages. Still, it's decent enough, but it'll mostly be used for when the extra movement is absolutely needed. Next is the Power Adapter. You get it after beating Flame Man, which again can be gotten very quickly. The Power Adapter makes Mega Man stronger generally, with every single shot variant doing more damage than normal Mega Man shot variants. Its attacks also have short range as Mega Man will punch, getting shorter the stronger the variant you use, from about medium range to having to be right next to the enemy you want to hit. The punching also charges pretty fast, so you can use the charged version pretty often. The charged version is also able to pierce through enemy shields, take out most otherwise invincible enemies, knock back most bosses and any enemies that can survive it, potentially interrupting attacks, and it's able to break these cracked blocks, allowing you to get extra items and discover new paths, like the energy balancer and the alternate boss door Nightman stage for the beat plate, and it can knock back the platforms of Mechasaurus, even though this just does 1 damage to it. Its damage values against bosses are pretty good as well, but against the Robot Masters, the semi-charged variant is the one that does the most damage, being free compared to the normal and charged versions too. The Mr. X and Wily bosses fixed this, doing 2, 3, and 4 damage for each variant respectively, but it's something I do want to point out. But on top of the usual cons these adapters have, the short range of this adapter generally can make some enemies harder to take out, and you generally have to be riskier, which isn't any sort of deal if you're good enough, but it's enough of a factor to be understandable why someone wouldn't like it. But the power output is good enough to justify using it. Anyway, the Super Adapter. This is obtained from getting the R, U, S, and H plates in the first 4 Robot Master stages. I'd recommend getting the one in Freeze Man stage first, then Burst Man's, then Cloud Man's, and Junk Man's to finish it off, but there is some room for variety here. The Super Adapter when it comes to mobility gives you a double jump you can use if you jump while airborne. It's helpful for the same reasons a Jet Adapter's flight is, albeit to a lesser extent. You can use it in any part of your usual jumps, and your jump momentum isn't accounted for unlike the Jet Adapter, so you'll be okay if you're falling down for a bit. When it comes to power, the semi-charged and charged variants are replaced with the Rocket Buster, which is a short-range punch that'll come back to Mega Man after traveling its full distance, and it can't get any enemies on the way back if they somehow dodged it initially. You also have the normal lemons, they're unchanged. The Super Adapter is a nice combination of the Jet and Power Adapters, having good mobility and good power. Although aside from the usual adapter limitations, the Rocket Punch has short range, and it's nowhere near as good in mobility as the Jet Adapter, and power as the Power Adapter. However, the range problem of the Rocket Buster can be mitigated with the Hyper Rocket Buster that can be found in Turbo Man stage. It gives the Rocket Buster homing properties series, homing to the closest enemy in the direction Mega Man is facing, giving it potentially more range and vertical range it didn't have before. However, if you're going for one specific target, like the mini-boss in Turbo Man stage, the rocket ends up homing in on the projectiles it summons. The homing is also good against bosses, as you can focus more on dodging the attacks, but losing the slide can come into play with that as well. The rocket does the most damage to base in his first fight, doing 6 damage, and doing 4 damage to base in his Triple Boost and Shade Man, which are especially helpful in those fights. I'll show the rest of the damage values for time's sake, pause if you want to read them. The Super Adapter's pretty good, balancing between the Jet and Power Adapter pretty well. Unlike the other adapters, it's not technically required in the slightest due to 7 stage design, but it's more than worth using in most scenarios. As for which adapter is the best, you could probably convince me any of the 3 are if you tried hard enough. They're all balanced well between each other, but I'd say the Super Adapter is the best, due to the balancing of the 2 adapters I mentioned earlier, and the Hyper Rocket Buster making up for the range issue. After replaying Mega Man 6 and 7, I like these adapters even more than I did before. They're pretty cool, and thankfully all of them are solid to be worth using despite their cons. Before anyone asks me about this, do I think they'll come back and do an override? Probably not. There's most likely gonna be a new gimmick in that game, but I wouldn't complain if something similar were to appear there. Thank you for watching. It's nice to make my usual videos again after some time of not doing so. My next video will be a boss ranking of Pokemon Legends CA, from easiest to hardest as always, but I'll try to spice it up a bit. The Las Vegas Regionals video is being worked on, but personally I don't think it'll come out until March or April. It's a new style of video I'm working with, and I want to do cool edits in it, so that's taking a bit of time. As always, I'll see you again with the Pokemon Legends CA boss ranking, and I hope you have a good day.